Nationals pitcher Max
but I'm the
Scherzer will
lucky
start
one,
for the
even though I
National
need help
League.
now and then.
Today at
If you're caring
Wimbledon,
for a loved
top
one,
seed Andy
visit
Murray won in straight sets. Third seed Roger
aarp.org/caregiving
Federer
for care
advanced
guides
with a
and
straight sets
community
victory. However,
support for your
fourth seed
strength.
Rafael
Brought to you
Nadal
by AARP
lost
and
in
the
5
Ad
sets
Council.
today to Gilles Muller, dropping the fifth set 15-13. That fifth set took more than 2 hours to play. The match lasted almost 5 hours. Lasted so long, second seed Novak Djokovic never even got on the court for his round of 16 match. Venus Williams advanced today on the ladies' side. No Lonzo Ball for the Lakers tonight against the Kings in Summer League because of a sore groin. The Kansas City Chiefs have promoted Brett Veach to be the team's general manager. I'm Dan Beyer.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Ready, set, just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
Finally, Clemson Sports Talk has come back to Columbia. Hello, everybody. Lawton Swan back at it once again here, 316 Greystone Boulevard. Fast-paced, action-packed, hurry up, no huddle, sports talk programming for you. Fox Sports Radio 1400 in the Midlands, heard around the world on the iHeart radio application. You can download it today. It is free. The Clemson Sports Talk app also free. And, of course, we are thankful to be with you here once again off of a nice little vacation. Got a chance to put my feet up just a little bit, relax just a little bit, take in some of the sun and sand with the family. Spent a lot of good time really and truly relaxing and having a blast. But now we are back at it once again here, and so thankful to help lead you, help march you towards the college football season. You want to be a part of the program tonight, here's how you do it. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. The hashtag on Twitter, CST Show. And you can follow the program at Clemson Sports. And also now I have a new hashtag, or a new Twitter handle, at CST Show as well. So kind of weird, not a hashtag. Maybe I'll get rid of the hashtag CST Show. I don't know what we're going to do with it. Rob Sanders hanging out with us here in studio, fresh off of the heels of an incredible wrestling event. What was that, on Friday? You made your way over to see the wrestling of Palmetto Championship Wrestling at the Vive Church?
Absolutely. Went and checked out Sports Talk's favorite wrestler. I think we can definitely say that, right? Clemson Sports Talk's favorite wrestler.
Oh, absolutely. My man Shane was apparently pretty impressive.
He was definitely impressive. I tell you what,
New York's greatest export, I believe.
He is definitely New York's greatest export. And I followed the Twitter battle between Shane and Clemson Tom. And Clemson Tom, brother, you're a friend of the show, but you might be biting off more than you can chew, my friend. I'm just saying.
So give me the vibe on this thing for a minute here, Rob, because I wanted to make it, and of course, if you made it over there to the Vibe Church and you want to talk about the Palmetto Championship Wrestling that you saw on Friday night, I'd love to hear from you. I really wanted to go, but of course, as you can imagine, I was out of town. My sister said she was coming to the beach. It was, one thing after the other, and we finally got it all squared away, I guess you would say, in terms of being able to have the family down, but unfortunately that cost me the opportunity to come and hang out with you guys.
Well, that's fine because you can follow Palmetto Championship Wrestling. They're going to have great shows throughout the year, but big stuff coming up for them. But you're going to get a chance to see it again. But I tell you what, man, Shane put on a show on Friday night, and I told you in show prep meeting what he did. His finishing move, he did the old Shane O'Mac, which we're going to call the Shane O'Dore now. That's what I'm calling it.
It's officially the Shane O'Dore?
It's officially the Shane O'Dore. He put his, and the guy he was wrestling, Seven is his name, was a monster.
Oh, he's a big guy.
He is an absolute monster. And Shane worked him over, got him in the corner, and he put the old chair in there, and he went from one turnbuckle all the way across the ring to the other and just planted this guy. Now, this is, of course, after Seven threw him through a spine buster that as soon as he hit it, it shook the ring, shook the church that we were in.
Yeah.
Scared my daughter to death. And she was like, he's not getting up from that. And I was like, I don't think so either, honey. But he bounced back and came up with it and just put on a heck of a show there.
It's funny about wrestling because if you watch it on television, and as many of us did when we were kids, your parents would always say to you, of course, it's not real.
Yeah.
Then you
okay.
go into the arena
and you see it.
and you watch it. It's
Right.
real.
It's as our good friend Bruce Pritchard would say.
Yes.
It's not ballet.
No, it is certainly not ballet, and good for those guys for putting on a heck of a show for the folks here in the Midlands, and I know they've got more opportunities coming up. I'm just still wondering when I'm going to get the impromptu run in, take somebody out with a chair shot, and then leave the arena.
Well, to start off the show, they had a battle royal with a wrestler, and his name was Big Country. And I know that I'm kind of a big guy, but this guy was mammoth. And it was my daughter's first wrestling show.
Sure.
And that was what was so cool about it, is that, you know, she kind of watched some WWE with me or what have you, but this was her first time actually physically seeing some wrestlers. And the first real wrestler that she could really point out was this guy named Big Country. Now, Big Country is a massive individual. I don't want to try to guess his weight because it might make him angry. And he looks like the kind of guy that, he just doesn't. I'm not trying to make Big Country angry.
Well, I mean, is he local? I mean, is he from around
he
here?
is a local guy from what I gather. I think he's one of Shane's guys. He can be from wherever he wants to be.
Sure.
From, whatever. He's that big of a guy. But to see the athletes that were out there and doing this stuff, and a lot of them are doing it just because they love it. Just a really, really good show. And of course, it was the whole family friendly thing too. With, you know, there's big signs out at the front. You know, if you curse, we're going to kick you out. That kind of thing. And it just felt really good. I took my kids and they were just happy.
Well, the good news is that sounds like most of our listeners, or the majority of our listeners, would be able to head over there, because that's one of our policies. I've always said here on the program, if my 7-year-old son, well, now 8-year-old son, can't be my number one fan, I don't want to do the show.
Exactly.
I don't want to do the show.
That's why you only put me on at like 45 minutes at a time.
Right.
You got to kick me out.
Got to make sure the dump button's fired up.
The
when
dump
you're
button's
in here
fired
with us.
up. No, I try to be as nice as I can, but I definitely want to come in a minute and definitely talk about Shane and what he did on Friday night. And he was upset that you weren't there. And I just told him, I said, look, you know, you're fighting somebody in a cage match on your next show, Swanee. He's gonna be your warm-up act.
I show up when I'm in on an angle. That's when I show up.
Well, if you can take a spine buster from Shane, then there you go. You might be able to get in the ring.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that. All right, so let's talk a little college football, because I know the people out there have been missing us, and we've been away for quite a while. And, of course, Rob Sanders, executive producer of the program, hanging out with us here. You can follow him on Twitter at RobSoundsGood. Follow me on Twitter at CST Show. I'm still getting used to that. But some of these changes are happening because there's big news. I've said this since January. This is the hashtag CS Takeover. This is the year that Clemson Sports Talk takes over. And we're working on things. We've got a lot of new stuff coming. Of course, Zach Lentz becoming heavily involved in the program and what we do on a day-to-day basis.
I watched some of his videos. It's kind of cool to watch Zach getting out there doing his thing.
He's got the Friday mailbag. He wants to do one called What Have We Learned? I mean, Zach's all about spreading some Clemson sports talk and spreading some Clemson sports knowledge. Of course, he writes for the Orangeburg Times and Democrat, but he's going to be doing a lot of work for us as well. So we're excited about that. And the future of, I guess, Clemson sports talk in some respects really kicks up at the end of this week with the ACC kickoff. But today, it's the SEC, and their media day is getting underway. Now, they put on quite a show. I mean, I'm talking a 4-day event.
I'm in the camp of it's the Nick Saban show and then everybody else.
So this is...
It's just hey, let's see who can which reporter can make Nick Saban angry, because I honestly think every year some reporter says something insane to him.
They do.
And he has to, you know, I feel bad for him because they've gotten to the point now with him where he's almost at the level of where Steve Spurrier was as far as people wanting to see him. But I mean, if you remember, even when Spurrier went down there, he would say things like, we should pay players. I mean, that was one of his final things that came out from him. But Saban is on that level now because of the talent that he brings in at Alabama, and people just want Saban. It's amazing. And when you see the press conference from him, it's going to be insanely stupid.
One of the funniest moments I think that I can recall from the SEC media days actually deals with Clemson's offensive line coach, Robbie Caldwell, while the head coach at Vanderbilt somehow, and of course Caldwell's from, I think, like Pageland, somewhere up in that part of the state of South Carolina. He got into a conversation about chicken insemination in front of, I mean, a room full of media members. And this was when this was when I guess social media wasn't quite what it is today. Can you imagine if that conversation went down in 2017 with all of the social media aspects of it? But nonetheless, the SEC Media Days underway, Hoover, Alabama.
Right.
I got two things I want to get into with you here on the program and
Sure.
also those people listening to us on iHeart Radio and Fox Sports Radio.
Right.
All right, first and foremost, there are a lot of grown men today in the state of Alabama,
In the state
Hoover,
of
Alabama,
Alabama. Yeah.
and maybe even more so when Nick Saban speaks, which I believe is on Wednesday. I'll have to double check their calendar, but I think it's Wednesday that Saban speaks. But I can assure you there are grown men today wearing jerseys. It's not football season, as I am aware. It is certainly a lead into and maybe the unofficial kickoff of the college football season.
Right.
I have held firm for years, going into my 4th year here. By the way, our anniversary coming up, I believe. We're not going to be on the air on our anniversary now. Well,
We still have the Swanee Awards. Those are coming up. We have the
Yeah,
Swanee Awards every
maybe
year.
next Monday we'll do the Swanee Awards because I think the 15th is the 15th this Friday?
The 15th is
This Saturday.
Yeah.
So next Monday we'll do the
Swanee Awards.
Swanee Awards.
If you don't know what the Swanee Awards are, it's basically the award show for Clemson Sports Talk.
Yeah.
And these awards are coveted. I mean, absolutely coveted, especially online.
Yeah, Shane Dorr, leader in the clubhouse for best wrestler on the program in 2017.
He's
Leader in the
definitely-
clubhouse.
Yeah, he better win that. I'm serious.
Unless somebody shows up here in the next
Well,
few
unless
days.
unless Big Country comes in and he wants it, then
Right,
he can,
right.
He
Then
can, he
it's-
can eat Shane, and then that will pretty much be it.
then it's his to take.
Then it's his to take.
But I've stood firm on I do not wear jerseys.
Yep.
I have never worn jerseys. You do not look like a jersey wearer to me.
No, I'm not.
But you do look like somebody that would wear perhaps a Chipper Jones baseball thing. I could see you in that. I don't know. Is that a
Well,
jersey? What
Chipper
do you call
Jones
that?
is like a legend. First of all, it's not just a jersey. You're wearing a Hall of Famers stuff, so that's completely different.
I mean, is that it? So
If they're in the Hall of Fame, which Chipper Jones is the best switch hitter of all time,
now this is a
I'm not
decent
gonna.
argument.
Who's going to argue with me that Chipper Jones is the best switch hitter of all time?
No.
Do not talk to me about Eddie Murray.
No.
Because I'll throw something at you.
It's a decent argument that perhaps if the person is famous enough
Oh, okay.
or has done well enough in their career
Right.
that it is okay to wear their jersey. Now, I contend that if I wanted to wear a Lynn Swann or you wanted to wear a Deion Sanders, we're all clear on that. I don't have a problem with that. If
Well,
your
both
last
are Hall
name
of Famers.
and my last name would be on the back spelled correctly, your last name would be on the back
Exactly.
spelled correctly.
Barry Sanders,
I got,
a Detroit jersey.
you would go Barry Sanders.
I would go Barry Sanders. Absolutely.
Over Deion?
Are you crazy? Barry Sanders is awesome. I can show you some Barry Sanders highlights that would make you go crazy.
Well, one half of your family's disappointed. The Deion Sanders side,
Yeah.
they're disappointed with you. But
Well, at the family reunion, I'll get the biggest piece of chicken.
if you look at the situation with the SEC and guys wearing jerseys, are you okay with that?
No, I don't think it's cool for the college end of it. I think that's just a little bit off for me. I say that though, and then I realize I have a Clemson baseball jersey, and I do wear it.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of, but it was a gift from my wife, and I know that's kind of putting that out there. But it was the last time they went to Omaha a long time ago. I think in 2005. I can't remember. But I have a Clemson baseball jersey from then, and I do wear it. I wore it when down at Seth Beer Stadium, down here in Columbia. But,
Oh, right.
Yeah, I wore it that day. You can actually see me in the video out there in my nice
When
big
Seth
Clemson
Beer
jersey.
hit the home run to win
Yeah,
the
it's Seth Beer Stadium.
okay.
You're laughing. You're looking at me like I'm silly. But all my Clemson friends call it Seth Beer Stadium now.
Well, okay. Part 2 of my
Sure.
questions about the SEC Media Days.
Uh huh.
When you look at it being hosted in Hoover, Alabama, as long as I can remember, it was at the Winfrey Hotel. And since that's changed names, it's a different hotel. I don't know what it is
Right.
now.
It's
but
still the home of the SEC days, media days.
Greg Sankey, commissioner of the SEC, today came out and said that he would not downplay or put down the possibility to move SEC Media Days to Atlanta. I kind of like it, honestly. I mean, I know I'm the Clemson host. I know this is not supposed to be focused on the SEC, but I've always found it a bit peculiar that this thing goes on right there in Hoover, Alabama, in the backyard of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Well, I think the thing that I look at with that is that ACC Media Days are held where?
Well, now in Charlotte.
Okay, so I think you need to have it at a central location of all the schools. Now, if you are the problem that you have with that, though, is that the SEC went out and got Texas A&M, and they're kind of all the way out there to the west. But I think Atlanta is a great place for them to go. And
it's the home of their championship game.
It's the home of their championship game, and I think it should be the same way with the ACC. I think the ACC championship should be in Charlotte for basketball, for football, for all of that. I think it should all be in Charlotte. Charlotte should be like the hub of the ACC cities.
Now that my friend, is an interesting thing to think through.
Right.
Instead of this jumping it around to the Barclays Center for the ACC basketball tournament, instead of being in Greensboro where it was for years,
right,
make one city your conference's central hub and home.
Right.
Do your media days there.
All of it there. You could have the same thing with all of it. Like Dallas should be for the Big 12. The Big 10 should be in either Indianapolis or Chicago, one or the other. You have all of your stuff right there in that same spot. The Pac-12 should be in LA.
Even if it's in the backyard of Southern Cal and UCLA.
Do you really think that's going to win one more football game for Southern Cal?
No, I really don't. Matter of fact, I'm not even sure how big those events are in those areas. I think it's rare. Well, I know it's rare what you see from the fan bases in the SEC and how they handle SEC media days. And I think the Atlantic Coast Conference is trying to do more of that. And I think that's why you are beginning to see more. Well, the ACC's also performed pretty well. That's helped. Clemson's got a national title recently. Florida State's got a national title recently.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's not as if this conference has gone without in recent years, but certainly I think the Atlantic Coast Conference and the SEC, maybe the Big Ten, borderline somewhat, have as much interest in their media days.
Well,
as one another.
If you've been to, it used to be, for my friends that have been to both, going to SEC Media Days is a completely different experience than going to ACC Media Days. You go to ACC Media Days, it's, it seems like you get to a little more personal time maybe from the coaches, etc., than you would get at SEC Media Days. Not putting down one over the other, but the SEC Media Days have turned into a show. An absolute show. And I'm sure they're going to have them broadcasting wall to wall on the SEC network. Why not? Because you don't have baseball right now. They are the only real sports thing, if you're in the South, that you care about right now, because we're in that dead period with baseball going to the All-Star game, etc.
Right.
And you've got like 3 or 4 days here where people want to kickstart their stuff on college football. They're going to do it right now with SEC Media Days. It's the perfect week for that.
Again, you can follow Rob Sanders on Twitter at RobSoundsGood. And, of course, we're glad to be back with you, each and every one of you. We've got coming up in hour number 2, our good friend Michael Felder will join us from the Bleacher Report. Always a good time with Michael Felder. And speaking of your Braves, 42-45, I guess, at the break, 9.5 games back of the Nationals, not really competing for postseason play right now.
I'm sorry. Have you seen the wild card standings?
Pretty far out right now.
We can talk about that when we come back.
Pretty far out right now, if I'm looking at it. A couple of teams ahead of the Braves, but are you surprised? That's where I was going. Are you surprised with where the Braves are right now?
No, I'm not.
Disappointed?
No, I'm not.
About where you thought?
I think that I thought that they would win maybe between 75 to 80 games this year, and they're right on pace for that.
There they are, 42-45 at the midway point. Rob Sanders on Twitter at RobSoundsGood, hanging out with us here for a little bit. I'm Lawton Swan. We'll be back with more Clemson Sports Talk on Fox Sports Radio and iHeart Radio.
When a stroke happens, every second counts. So don't drive and call 911 to get to the emergency department as soon as possible. At Lexington Medical Center, we're pleased to serve our community. As a certified primary stroke center, our acute stroke team rapidly evaluates patients and provides them with the fastest treatment possible. This specialized care limits the chance of brain damage and gives stroke patients a better chance of full recovery. Act quickly at the first sign of a stroke and count on the Stroke Center at Lexington Medical Center to provide you with the best possible care.
Well, it's summertime in South Carolina. We all love that, but we don't know so much like the thunderstorms that come along with summertime and the damage they can do to the roof on your home. Hi, Gary David for local roofers, Mayhem Roofing, who will be with you step by step if Mother Nature dumps on your roof to make sure everything is done by the book, so there are no surprises when you're done from your insurance company. Mayhem Roofing, local roofers with a 5-star A+ Better Business Bureau rating at 855-GO-MAYHEM. That's 855-GO-MAYHEM. Find out more at mayhemroofing.com. That's mayhemroofing.com.
Stars and Stripes Sports is a leader in the sports athlete development market, offering innovative health, fitness, training, and player development solutions for players and coaches of all levels of youth sports. Stars and Stripes Sports is looking to add at least 2 people per state to start their own business for sports testing and to market these events locally. We want people to start their programs in early 2017, starting with spring training. Many high-quality athletes fail to reach their potential. Call Chris today, 704-737-9970, or email Chris Carlson at starsandstripessports.com.
Columbia Office Furniture is the destination for quality new or used office furniture. Preview thousands of new quick ship desks, chairs, workstations, file cabinets, bookcases, conference room furniture, and more at cofsc.com. Then visit our 12,000 square foot showroom at 301 Greystone Boulevard to see, sit in, touch, and feel actual samples before you buy, or browse our huge selection of quality used office furniture. And we offer layout and design services as well as installation. Visit cofsc.com today. Columbia Office Furniture. We furnish solutions.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show in the chat room at clemsonsportstalk.com.
Oh, yeah, Clemson Sports Talk. Lawton Swan had a chance to spend some time at the beach with my family, listen to a lot of beach music hits. Always great to be back with you, though. Somehow the batteries were completely recharged. I feel really good about the program, really good about the next few weeks as we head towards the college football season. And, of course, big things looming over on our website, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Rob Sanders at Rob Sounds Good joining us here for a couple of segments this evening as we take a look at the SEC Media Days and everything else going on in the world of sports. You mentioned the All-Star
the home run
weekend
tonight,
coming up and the home run derby and all of that. I don't overly get into baseball, as you know, but I have to admit that I have been known to watch the home run derby. There's something majestic to guys just mashing a bit. I don't know that I ever saw anything better than what Josh Hamilton did a few years ago.
Well, watch tonight when you go home, if you get a chance, and check out Judge from the Yankees. This young man.
He's a big dude.
He can hit a ball really, 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 really hard and really, 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 really far.
They taught me that he can rake is the word we're looking for.
Yeah.
He can mash.
He can. All I know is that if a ball comes anywhere near him and it's in his zone, he's gonna hit it to Saturn. That's how hard this guy hits the ball.
How big is he again?
I have to look that up, but
6'6", 6'7", something like that.
He is a very, very large man, and he can hit the ball a long, long way.
Now, I put out a poll question earlier today, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this, and,
sure.
and people listening to the program as well. You can chime in 803-978-1832. You can text us thanks to our friends at the Ocean Reef Resort in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That's 803-450-0086. And we put a poll question up on Twitter. Which is more important in 2017, in your opinion, for the Clemson Tigers? Defensive touchdowns or special teams touchdowns? If you had to pick one of the two, because I think for the first time in a long time, Clemson is going to, at some point in the year, probably have to rely on one or the other to help you win a game. I don't want to be dismissive of the offense, but I don't think you're always going to be able to count on the Clemson Tiger offense the way you felt like you could with Deshaun Watson and Wayne Gallman and Mike Williams and on and on and on,
Right.
you're going to have to rely on somebody else at some point to win a game. Not field goals. These are special teams touchdowns and defensive touchdowns. Well, I'll even go defensive scores like a safety, but I don't really feel like that's a difference maker the way a pick six is a difference maker.
See, I have to go with the defense, the defensive scores, because and let's be honest with you. If the defense comes up with fumbles inside the 10, okay,
that's huge.
And you can set up the offense inside the opponent's 10-yard line, you're going to get some points. I would venture to say that the Clemson offense will score the majority of the time this year if they can get first and 10 inside the 10. I think any college team would be really set up on that. So I'm going to go with the defense setting up the offense and keeping it short fields. I think that's more important than anything else.
Clint on Twitter at Clemson Clint says the defense will be dominant without a touchdown. Special teams touchdowns will take pressure off of an inexperienced offense. Right now, I put up the poll a couple of times because I had first called it special team scores, and
Right.
people were counting the field goal unit in.
Right.
This thing is a dead heat, though. I mean, it is a
I don't
virtual
understand how it's
dead heat.
It's a dead heat. I mean, we don't have a C.J. Spiller back there returning punts or returning kicks. And you were when C.J. Spiller would get back there and return a kick, you would just stand up.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were like, is he going to go?
Sure.
Every time. And if he got that much of a window, he was gone. Justin Miller was the same way. I don't think we have that kind of player back there right now that can actually run back kicks, run back punts,
I think
etc.
people believe Tavian Feaster could be, but he did not show it last year. He showed a good bit of hesitancy, I thought, with the ball in his hand.
Well, once again, he wasn't C.J. Spiller. C.J. Spiller did that as a freshman, and he would take it and go with it. Not to
that's a
bash
good point.
Tavian Feaster, but he may develop into that. But as of right now, from what we have seen and what we know that we have, I'm going to go with Big Dex and Christian Wilkins getting fumble recoveries and running them back over getting special teams touchdowns.
And we'll talk about those two guys coming up in just a little bit. The other thing that I think you made a good point on was the short field situations that forcing fumbles could lead to for Clemson.
Right.
And I'd like to see this Clemson Tiger defense be and I know some people will not like what I'm about to say because it does put to risk a situation where you allow someone to escape you. But if I go back to that national championship game and I watch how Alabama played defensively.
Right.
Stripping at the ball, trying to rip it out, holding a guy up, and just doing like when Anderson forced that fumble, he just ripped it out. I'd like to see that defensive front for Clemson
do the same thing.
Be very similar.
And that's how Alabama does their stuff. I mean, if you remember last year going into the season, what was the number one concern for the Alabama Crimson Tide going into the year? Do you remember?
Quarterback.
It was a quarterback. They found a quarterback, and they made it work, and they went with it. But the way that they groomed that quarterback is that he went in a lot of times with the short field. Okay, look, you're not going to start on your 20. We're going to start on the opponent's 40. Now, if you can get me 25 yards, I'm going to get a field goal, and I'm going to be happy about that because my defense is going to hit them in the mouth again.
Right.
And then we're going to get the ball back again, and then we're going to score again. And that's, once he got into that and it built with him on that, I think that's what they're going to have to do with Kelly Bryant or whoever they put back there. Put him in short fields and just let him thrive a little bit. Let him see, hey, I can do this. And then, if it does stretch out eventually where they're having to go from their own 25, 35 or whatever, his feet are going to be wet and he's going to be a little more focused when he does that.
Well, and you'll recall last year, not only did Alabama cause turnovers, but that's where that touchdown portion of this question came from. I mean, they were scoring.
Oh, yeah.
They were scoring left and right. And that's something Clemson's defense did very little of last year. And really, in all honesty, they haven't done much of that the past couple of seasons. As good as Clemson has been, they haven't put up defensive scores in the, I guess, with the multitude that I would like to see.
Well, but they're not putting up special team scores either since C.J. Spiller left.
I'll tell you what.
We have to go with that round too, though.
Let's head out to the phone lines and hear what the callers have to say. Caller, welcome in. Your thoughts. Left him speechless. Speechless.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, I think they probably knew that whatever take they had was not going to go well. You were going to disagree with them. You had the disagreements in your tone.
I just like to disagree with you.
Wow.
I mean, you and I can go back and forth. I just like to disagree with you.
on Twitter, Edward chimes in. He says, I think our defense will be okay, so I think our special teams is the one that needs to deliver. That comes to us from @Shumpert_Edward on Twitter. And I could see that philosophy too. Here's something I hadn't thought of as well. I had a buddy of mine tell me this the other day, and I guess I think about this in some ways, but he says to me, Swanee, I consider a 3-and-out a turnover. I mean, if a team comes out 3-and-out and punts the ball, it's a turnover. And he says, I think we've got the ability to be one of the top teams in the country in that statistical category.
Right.
Good point.
That is a very, very good point because, once again, you're starting on that short field. You come out to the 25, their kicker kicks it 30 yards. Hey, guess what? You're still right at your own 45. You don't have to go that far.
Yeah, you get a nice return. All of a sudden, it's
a nice return. You're on their 40.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go 40 yards and get a touchdown instead of 80.
Rob Sanders. Rob, you hanging out with us anymore? You got work to do? What's going on with you?
I'm actually done. I can stay through the next segment, then I got to
go. There he is. The work is done here. So if anybody at iHeart's wondering if any of the big suits up higher than us, way up higher than us, he's done. He's doing this pro bono. This is off the clock. He's hanging out with us here.
You're right about that.
On Clemson Sports Talk tonight, Rob Sanders. 803-978-1832. Okay, our caller did call back. We'll get to them when we get back here on Fox Sports Radio and iHeart Radio just after the break. Again, we want to invite you to be a part of our live show over on our website, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Click Join the Conversation and step in and be a part of our online community in a Slack channel. You're going to love it. It's on your iPhone. It's on your computer. It's everywhere you are. It is the Clemson Sports Talk Slack channel. Stay with us here on Fox Sports Radio and iHeart Radio for more of the show that shakes the Southland.
Our customers receive the best heating and air conditioning service in South Carolina. Hi, I'm Tim Mosley, and I can make that statement because that's what our customers tell us every day. We call it quality confirmed. Call us at 803-233-7172, and we'll call you when the job is done to confirm we met your expectations. That's quality confirmed. We're Carolina Conditions, and we're committed to meeting your expectations. 803-233-7172. Call us at 803-233-7172.
This is Barb, and you're on Pit Stop Radio. You know, Pit Stop is your local go-to for gas, drinks, and snacks, right? But did you know they're also the place for great fresh food like fried chicken, pizza, hot dogs, subs, even seafood? That's right. Many Pit Stops have Chester's Chicken, Piccadilly Pizza, Nathan's Hot Dogs, Subway, Blimpie, even Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips. Hungry for something delicious, fresh, and convenient? Don't stop till you're at Pit Stop.
Need custom shirts, hats, or uniforms? How about promotional giveaways for your business or organization? Need fast turnaround times? Look no further than Meridian Printing and Promotions. Located in Lexington, they provide an in-house art department, in-house screen printing, and in-house embroidery services to the Midlands and beyond. For the absolute best quality products and services, contact Meridian Printing and Promotions, 785-4990. Check them out online, mbspromo.com.
Right now, you can save some major green at the Home Depot's Red, White, and Blue Savings Event with up to 40% off appliance special buys. Clean up big with the stackable LG front-load washer and electric dryer, now just $499 each. That's $500 in savings for the pair. Shop our lowest prices of the season, only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only while supplies last. Gas dryer extra. See store for details. Valid 6/21 through 7/12.
Attention, anyone who's suffering from lower back pain. Right now, HealthSource is offering our listeners an absolutely free back pain consultation on a first-come, first-served basis by calling 803-218-9047. Our doctors can find the root cause of your lower back pain and show you how to get well fast and stay well longer. No more pain. No more feeling worn out. Essentially, no more not feeling like yourself. Call 803-218-9047.
The scattered storms will die off overnight and the lows will dip to the mid-70s. Tomorrow, sunny to start, afternoon highs in the low 90s, then some clouds and some scattered late storms. For Channel 25 ABC Columbia, I'm Chief Meteorologist John Farley.
This report is brought to you by Fred Anderson Toyota of Columbia.
Fred Anderson Toyota of Columbia's Snooze service just launched. When your Toyota needs scheduled service, simply drop your vehicle off by 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, and we guarantee to have it ready to drive off the lot by 7 a.m. the next day. Visit Fred Anderson Toyota of Columbia today.
You're listening to Clemson Sports Talk with my dad, Lawton Swan, on Fox Sports Radio 1400 and on the iHeart Radio app.
Be young, be foolish, but be happy. Be young.
Clemson Sports Talk, Lawton Swan, 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. That's the number. If you want to be a part of the program, you can join the conversation. Head over to ClemsonSportsTalk.com and then click on Join the Conversation. Step into our Slack channel, be a part of the show. You know, we're giving away some T-shirts to members of our Slack community, so it's worth it for you to be a part of it. We'd love to have you come over there, and even those of you that talk with us will be able to, those of you that discuss, give yourself a better chance of getting one of those free Champions T-shirts that we've put out over on social media. Rob Sanders hanging out with us tonight, and
I got my Champions shirt.
yeah, and you look spectacular in it.
I wore it to wrestling the other night.
You know what, Rob? Clemson didn't have to win a national title for you to be a champion, my friend.
We don't have to get into that now. That's not nice.
All right, so you and I were talking during the break. This is kind of I left at what sort of begins a dead period for sports in some respects. Certainly 4th of July, there's not a ton going on. There is some Major League Baseball. Tonight you've got the
home run derby, et cetera, yeah.
And then you've got the All-Star game coming up. But you were telling me that we're getting close to.
Yep, the worst sports day of the year.
The worst sports day of the year.
Yep.
And that's the day.
The day after.
Okay.
The day after the All-Star game. So that would be Wednesday this year.
Wednesday.
Right.
Dead.
It's the deadest day in sports. This is the day, like, if you look at ESPN, they're going to show, like, their My Wish thing where they have, like, the kids that have terminal disease and then they get visited by John Cena, et cetera. I mean, just anything they can do to fill up that hour because they don't have any highlights. They've got nothing to show you on Wednesday.
Which, by the way, are incredible moments.
They are incredible moments.
I got to tell you, that song, My Wish, never bothered me. Ever. Never. It just came on, my wish for you. Nothing.
You're going to sing the whole song?
I watch, well, probably technically can't legally, but and probably technically can't because people don't want to hear it. But I do think, I really do believe that after watching a couple of those My Wish segments with,
right,
I can't hear that song. It's like Butterfly Kisses by Bob Carlyle. I go to a wedding, they play that, I'm all mushy. I don't know.
You see the daughter over there. It's like, that's going to happen to you eventually, right?
That's the thing that goes through my mind. Like, if I had a son, I could probably listen to that song all day, every day.
Of course you
could. Not a problem.
Of course you could.
Oh, my goodness. And then you think about the cards and stuff that your daughter makes that are not great, but they're her best work.
Why are we talking about this now?
I don't know.
This is so harsh.
You've got, and that song just kills you.
It
Rob's
does kill
crying.
you.
Let me get a tissue for you.
Yeah, no. Let's
okay,
not.
so tell me about the worst sports day, because you told me a great story off the air. This is fantastic.
Well, I actually had to call and get permission from my buddy Michael Dabreski, who is one of my Facebook friends. The two of us do a little podcast together. But he told me something last night when I talked to him on the phone, and it made me laugh really hard. He was married on the worst sports day of the year, which is the Wednesday after the All-Star game. So he was actually married on that day, and this was his wife's idea because she didn't want him having to check on sports scores or whatever because of, his love and fascination for sports and all that. He got married on the worst sports day of the year simply because he knew his wife knew that she'd have his full attention because there's nothing for him to watch.
In the middle of the week, though, that's
on a
the
Wednesday
thing for me.
It's like, how do you get married on a Wednesday, brother?
Yeah, Like
my wife was not having it. I mean, we did have the conversation. We're not getting married in the middle of football season because that's just death in the South.
I think that's common.
But we're going to get married on the worst sports day of the year, the day after the All-Star game.
I think that's common, and I think that's why in the South, and maybe I'm wrong on this, why it seems like everybody gets married in the summer. Like, do you notice, like, my Facebook feed, I'm not a big Facebook guy.
Yeah.
All day, every day in the summer, it's somebody's anniversary.
Well, and here's a thought, too. If you're having your wedding in the fall, I'm not going. I'll send you a toaster oven, but I'm not going.
Yeah.
That's just reality. If you have a wedding in the fall, then your wife is obviously, I mean, let's be honest, she doesn't really understand college football, and she just doesn't get it. So don't expect me to go, I'll send you a nice toaster oven or maybe some wine glasses. That's a good wedding gift, too. But generally, I just send toaster ovens.
Acceptable to get married on the open date, though?
No, because that changes every year. Think about that.
That's a valid point.
If it changes every year, that's even worse because then, 5 years from you're not doing anything for our anniversary because, well, honey, Clemson,
we're playing Florida State.
We're playing Louisville. You want me to, you want to go out to dinner? We're playing Louisville. What are you talking about? Unless you're going to agree that tailgating is going to be our
right, like we're gathering
anniversary.
We're gathering with 80,000 of our closest friends to celebrate our anniversary this year.
Well, I think that's just insane, and you just can't do that. But big ups to my buddy Mike because big ups to his wife. His wife's like, you know what? I want your full attention. You're getting married on the worst sports day in the history.
Now, let me ask you this: since we're apparently today is Help Fathers and Dads Out Day here on Clemson Sports Talk, we're kind of giving everybody a guideline to life.
Right.
All right. So my kids are both born in the summer.
Right.
Your children are born any summer birthdays?
Jaden's in September, so yeah, that's about it.
Okay, so no summer birthdays.
No.
All right. So we have this great issue every year that you would think there would be a lot of kids around to celebrate your child's party, but there's not because you don't have the classroom to give out the invitations to the whole class and do all that like you're supposed to do. I know some of you still are scandalous and only give it out to certain people in the class. You should give a card to every kid in the class. But because of that fact, a lot of people are on vacation, not a lot of chance to get other kids in. I'm not a big half-birthday fan or even some other kind of year birthday thing, but the wife is kind of talking me into allowing my son to have like a party where there's, I guess, presents involved, not necessarily on his birthday, but at some other point in the year for both of our kids. This additional celebration where their friends from school can actually come and be a part of it.
Or you could just invite the Sanders kids in July.
Right. They're free. What are they doing? Hanging out with Dad at the studio.
Hanging out with Dad in the studio. No. I think that's kind of a new age thing that I think our grandpas would laugh at. Your birthday is in June, boy. That's when you have your birthday.
Right.
That's what my grandpa would say.
That's what I thought. I
mean, I'm not going to battle with Erica. I mean, that's on
me either. I'm not foolish.
Well, you're married to her, brother. You got to deal with her.
I'm not foolish.
Not me,
I just shake my head and nod and say, yeah.
Well, if she says you're going to do it, you got to do it because that's an Erica thing.
That's the way it is.
She's going to be the one that plans it anyway. You just have to pay for it.
Before you get out of here, let me.
I can stay through the next segment if you want.
Well, you can. But here's my question.
All right.
And this is what we'll talk about when we get back.
All right.
If Aaron Judge doesn't win the home run derby tonight, what does that mean for him in terms of the 2017 Major League Baseball season? I'll get Rob Sanders' thoughts on that when we get back. Stay with us.
Lawton Swan here, and I know in sports we're always talking about the big guy. Well, let me tell you, when you're buying a car, you don't need that. What you need to do is head down to Orangeburg to my good friends at Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac. 4 generations of family-owned business right there at Ferry Chevrolet. No dock fees, no tricks, straightforward pricing in a low-pressure environment you'll love. Check them out online, ferrychevrolet.com, or call them 803-536-1600. It's Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac, just a short 30-minute drive off of exit 145A in Orangeburg.
Love it raw? For the freshest sushi in town, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, 807 Gervais Street in the Vista. Sakatumi's flavorful grill for non-sushi fans features the Kobe burger, filet and lobster, chicken hibachi, and more. Fresh sushi, flavorful grill, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, sakifresh.com.
Hey guys, Lawton Swan here. I was hanging out in the backyard with my son Mason the other day, and he said, "Dad, you're the best father ever." I was like, "What makes you say that, son?" He said, "When I go outside to play now, I don't get eaten up by the bugs anymore." Imagine that, me, a hero, when all I did was just a couple of weeks ago call Trey Powell at Mosquito Joe with their routine service plan. No more bugs and no more bites. Make yourself the family hero. Call Mosquito Joe today, 803-223-7916. Outside is fun again. Tiger fans, look no further than the Tiger Sports Shop in Clemson for all your game day gear. Since 1974, they've brought you everything Clemson for the Clemson fan. With quality brand names such as Nike, Under Armour, Antigua, Ping, and many more. From hats to t-shirts to tailgate, the Tiger Sports Shop has all the Clemson apparel a true Tiger fan needs. With 2 convenient game day locations in Tigertown, shop where I shop at I Am Ibrahim's Tiger Sports Shop. They fuel the passion of Tiger fans everywhere. Check them out online, tigersports.com.
For more information about contests on this station, go to foxsportsradio1400.com/rules. Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk, your iHeart Radio home for the 2016 College Football National Champion, Clemson Tigers.
Laid back and mellow here on a beautiful Monday evening in the Midlands of South Carolina. Clemson Sports Talk, Lawton Swan, heard around the world on the iHeart Radio app. Again, our website, clemsonsportstalk.com. Join the conversation. You want to be a part of the show. We'd love to have you, not only via the text line, 803-450-0086, but over on Twitter, at Clemson Sports, or, wait for it, at CST Show. That's my new Twitter handle.
When I got that notification, it was actually on Friday night when I was at the PCW show, and I was like, is this a hack?
No, it's not a hack.
And then I noticed that at Lowell the Intern's following you, and your wife is following you. It was like, well, if it's a hack, then they bought it first. So there you go. So yeah, follow Swanee at CST Show.
Well, and I think it's a positive move for the Clemson Sports Talk brand in that one of the things we're trying to do by bringing Zach Lentz in, he's on Twitter at Zach Lentz CST, is we've got to make the Clemson Sports Talk feed less opinion, more fact. And what I mean by that is a lot of times because I use that as my personal, I think people like that about it in some respects too.
Right.
It brought you news, but it also brought you opinion. Like I'd go, oh, this commercial with this goofy guy walking down the stairs, that's hilarious. Well, in reality, with some of the changes we're making to get in the lane we want to be in, that Clemson sports needs to be just the news coming from us.
Right, and at CST Show can be Swanee talking about the dope falling down the stairs, or Floyd Mayweather falling on his face, or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of how that whole thing happened, and fortunately CST Show was available. I mean, I looked at other options. I did look at other options. I'm not going to tell you what they are. Maybe I'll switch to them at some point.
Oh, man, here we go.
But nonetheless, the question before the break,
right,
that inquiring minds are wanting to know and the listeners can't wait to hear.
Okay.
Aaron Judge has kind of been this phenomenon. And you know I'm not a baseball guy, but he has been a phenomenon. He's already set the Yankees record for the most home runs by a rookie in a season.
Right.
He's going to potentially hit 50-plus home runs this year.
Right.
I don't know that that's even a stretch. Could he get to 60?
No telling with that kid.
Okay. But does he carry the burden of winning the home run derby tonight? I mean, is that
I don't think that really,
a thing?
I don't really think that matters. I think if he wants to go out there and put on a good show,
right?
But I think that's just for the Aaron for the brand. I mean, hey, I can go out and mash balls. I mean, I think that's. He wants to go out there for that, but other than that, though, I mean, I really don't think it really bothers him. But it's getting to the point now where I don't know, and I know you don't follow baseball very much, but the team that I like to watch right now is the Houston Astros. They have the best record in baseball, I believe, And they've got 3 guys that can just flat out mash. And what I mean by that is their leadoff hitter, his name is George Springer. He's on pace to hit 50 homers, and he did not have his first stolen base of the year until last week when they played the Braves. All right, and the reason why is because he hits doubles. It's harder to steal third than it is to steal second.
Sure.
So the guy hits doubles. He's hitting like 300, and he's on pace to hit 50 homers. He's beginning to get to the point where he's my favorite non-Brave to watch because he just goes out there and just plays really, really hard. So, but as far as Judge goes, I think that's more of the brand. But I was talking with some friends of mine the other day about Justin Smoke, the former South Carolina player. I'm not sure why he's not in this home run derby because that guy can kill a ball. And if I had to have an MVP vote, he would be in the top 5 right now. I mean, he is really carrying the Toronto Blue Jays up there.
I'm trying to see what his stats are this year.
For Justin Smoke?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I just looked at him the other day.
Batting 294.
294, but I think he's got like
56 RBIs.
56 RBIs. I think he leads the team in RBIs. I think he's right up there in homers as well. But he's definitely in the top 5 as far as, in my opinion, for in the MVP race.
Well, and I think the reason I posed the question is if you go back a couple of years, Steph Curry won the three-point contest in the NBA. And then the following year, if my memory serves me correctly, he was defeated by Klay Thompson, or Klay Thompson won. Yeah, he was defeated by Klay Thompson.
Right.
And that wasn't that much of a rub on Steph Curry because obviously the 1-2 punch that those two guys were with the Warriors.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's one of the 2 Splash Brothers. I mean, they've still got nothing on Larry Bird winning it in his warm-ups. I'm not even going to take my warm-up off and win this thing. That's just straight beast mode right there.
That was ridiculous. By the way, I was looking here. The most points scored in a round, I believe, in the history of the
home run derby?
The three-point contest.
The three-point contest, okay.
It's Steph Curry and Klay Thompson back-to-back years in 15 and 16. But I think part of that is the fact that they changed the rules from when Larry Bird was shooting. Because I don't know that Larry Bird and those guys, did they shoot the money ball back then in the early renditions of the...
You know, I'd have to research that, but I know that I used to love watching that stuff. And even with and I know that I'm bringing up some crazy NBA stuff here, but the Michael Jordan Dominique Wilkins dunk contest is still, you can still watch that today and it still holds up. Even today. And Jordan's like, what, I don't know, 50, 60, however old he is now, but that stuff still holds up.
How ridiculous was that battle between those two guys?
Oh yeah, that certainly was. It was a battle.
Well, I think the other problem that we have now with that, and maybe Judge is kind of like this because he's kind of a star of the league now, just out of nowhere. But those guys were the stars. Those are the biggest names. Like LeBron James, these guys aren't even competing anymore. You know, they don't even compete in these things.
Like the dunk contest. Now, they do get into the skills challenge, which is that new thing that they have, but they do get into that. But I think a lot of it is like a pride thing. And, you know, some of these dunks they're doing, if you miss them, you're going to get hurt. I mean, you know, I'm going to jump over a car or jump over a guy. When you miss that, you land on your knee the wrong way, you may blow your knee out.
Yeah.
And they don't really need the exposure that, you know, to be stars and get endorsements, etc.
So Aaron Judge, no big blemish if he doesn't win this thing tonight.
No, if he goes out tonight and drops an egg and he hits in the first round in his first round matchup, he's the number 2 seed. I can't remember who he's batting up against in that thing, but
yeah, they've changed. That's the other thing.
It's a head-to-head matchup basically. But if he goes out in the first round and he hits 1 homer, and that's it, you know, he'll catch some grief for it, but he's still going to come out and the rest of the season and just continue to mash balls.
Justin Bour, I believe is it, or Bour? Yeah, I'm not even sure.
Whoever that guy is.
Yeah, he's from the Marlins. You've got Giancarlo Stanton, who's the guy I like. We had a great debate about him.
He's a massive individual, too. He's got forearms like Popeye.
Going up against Gary Sanchez. That's the 1-8 matchup. Then you've got Mike.
That's the other Yankee. Yeah, the Yankees have 2 guys in there.
Moustakas taking on Miguel Sano, I believe.
Yeah, Miguel Sanu from the Cleveland Indians.
Who heard of him before? Not me.
He's an all-star.
And then
baseball, you know that.
Cody Bellinger and Charlie Blackmon.
Charlie Blackmon is that plays for the Colorado Rockies. That's another team to watch. They score a lot of runs, and they've got a really, really stout lineup right now, too.
How do you say that Miguel guy's last name? Sanu?
Sanu.
Yeah. That sounds like a guy I've heard before.
Maybe so.
Yeah. Miguel Sanu.
I'm completely with you on that. So,
I'm going Giancarlo Stanton. I'm going chalk. Giancarlo Stanton versus Aaron Judge for it all.
I think I did the pick on with MLB.com, and I've got Moustakas and Judge in the finals.
There you
That's
go.
What I've got.
That'll be good.
It could be wrong, but who knows?
Rob Sanders, one final thing before we get you out of here for the night.
Right.
Thanks for hanging out for an hour, buddy. Getting me
know,
back
right?
in the. I feel like I'm on the treadmill. I got back in the rhythm.
I know, right? We had to beat you into shape.
Have you watched any of the NBA Summer League?
You know, we were watching some of the. There was a big thing about Sindarius Thornwell in his first game in the Summer League. He had like 24 points, and everybody's like, "Wow, he's gonna make the Clippers and everything else." But you and I both. I don't know if you know much about the Summer League.
Yeah, it's not a lot of talent.
It's a kind of a showcase for the rookies. Then you have some
Yeah.
second-year guys or whatever that come in and play, and it's nice for him to have a good time and show out there. But it was fun that Sindarius Thornwell was. It was Lakers versus Clippers, and it was the first game for the second pick.
LeVar Ball.
LeVar Ball.
We do mention him. We don't mention his dad.
Well, and he had a horrible game, but the guy who stole the show in that game was Sindarius Thornwell. He had like 24 points, etc. So that was kind of cool. I have been keeping up with Jerron Blossom game.
I've seen him hit some threes.
He is not scoring a lot of points, but he's averaging about 6, 7, 8 rebounds a game. And I read a piece in the San Antonio from one of the San Antonio papers that they were talking about. He was the same kind of player that the all-star guard the Spurs have right now. He's in that same kind of mold. So we'll see.
There you go. Rob Sanders hanging out with us here, Fox Sports Radio and iHeart Radio. Lawton Swan, Hour 2 coming up right after this.
Calling all brides. You've got the ring, so now what? Plan your dream wedding at the Carolina Bridal Expo. Sunday, July 16th. Find everything for your wedding under one roof in just one afternoon. The best wedding pros, food, drinks, and fun. Selfie stations, prizes, giveaways, and so much more. Sponsored by Carolina Bride Magazine, American Floral, Columbia Bridal Associates, Casca Productions, and 104.7 WNOK. Don't miss it. July 16th at the Columbia Metropolitan Convention Center. For tickets, bridecityshows.com. That's bridecityshows.com.
Looking to get away without having to spend a whole day traveling to your destination? Ocean Reef Resort offers 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom accommodations with the comforts of home and boasts the best oceanfront views. Experience not only our pools, hot tubs, and lazy river, but also our delicious on-site banana boat lounge and cafe, family game room, fitness center, banquet facilities, and much more. Visit us at oceanreefmyrtlebeach.com or call us at 1-866-935-0530 to learn more.
Do you want a pharmacy that treats you like a person and not just a number? Then let Craig and Lori at Southlake Drug show you what a pharmacy should be. Fast, friendly, and professional. Southlake Drug can transfer your prescriptions and take the hassle out of getting your medicine and getting you on your way. Southlake Drug takes all major insurance programs, including Medicare, Medicaid, and state employees, and they provide immunization services, including flu shots with no wait and no appointment. Southlake Drug, 1856 Southlake Drive in the Food Line Shopping Center, 399-7701, or southlakedrug.com.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? But to order at Kaufman's Meat and Place. Just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat and Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
Cottingham Family Dentistry is proud to announce the opening of their new office located at 3722 Devine Street, and they're welcoming new patients. What makes Cottingham Family Dentistry different? It's in the name, family. They will cater to your needs and the dental needs of your children. Cottingham Family Dentistry offers same-day crowns, dental implants, cosmetic dentistry, including whitening, veneers, and tooth-colored fillings, and many other dental services. If you're searching for an amazing dental home, call 776-4234 or stop by their new office at 3722 Devine Street and become a part of the family at Cottingham Family Dentistry.
Guys don't really talk about antiperspirant. Despite that, 91% of Dove Men Plus Care users recommend it. Here's what they said.
It blocks the, perspiration, I think is the fancy word.
It's comfortable. It smells nice. My girl likes the smell.
Well, it's hard.
I think it's quite masculine.
My underarms aren't the worst thing at the gym. It's kind of like the Hoover Dam from my armpits, I guess.
Dove Men Plus Care Antiperspirant. Tough on sweat, not on skin.
With so many music apps out there, ever wonder which one is the best? It's iHeartRadio. Not because we say so, because you do.
iHeartRadio!
iHeartRadio is the #1 rated music app in America. It's the only one with live radio, artist stations, and an unlimited selection of music. All in one app. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free. Download the free iHeartRadio app or listen at iHeartRadio.com.
From the E.F. Martin Heating and Air Studios, this is Fox Sports Radio 1400. WCOS Columbia. Available anywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app.
Fox Sports Trending now.
Tonight, baseball's home run derby takes place in Miami. Things will get underway in about an hour. Las Vegas says right now it's a dead heat on who's going to be the favorite, Aaron Judge or Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton won it last year, and Judge likes Stanton's chances this year.
Stanton's a guy, I've watched a lot of video on him for the past couple of years. When I was coming through the minor leagues, he was another big guy that was having success in the big leagues. I was like, what's this guy doing that I can kind of incorporate into my swing? He's an athlete out there too, man. He's 6'5", 6'6", and he runs with the best of them, so it's pretty impressive.
Now, Judge is going to bat third for the American League in the All-Star game tomorrow. We found out that Chris Sale of the Red Sox will be the starting pitcher, that is, for the American League. For the National League, it's the Nationals' Max Scherzer. With TrueCar, you can find out what other people in your area paid for the same car you're looking for, new or used. Visit TrueCar to enjoy a more confident car buying experience. No Lonzo Ball for the Lakers tonight in the Summer League because of a sore groin. I'm Dan Byer.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Ready, set, just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
It is hour number 2. That's prime time right here on Fox Sports Radio and iHeartRadio. Lawton Swan, thanking you for being here with us once again each and every evening from 6 to 8 p.m. We podcast every edition of the show. We encourage you to join the conversation on our website, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Looking forward to catching up with our man, Michael Felder from the Bleacher Report. Michael Felder joins us here on the show that shakes the Southland from time to time. And, of course, with everything going on out at the opening, our boy, good friend, Michael Felder made his way out there. And I guarantee you, getting the goods from him here on the show that shakes the Southland tonight will be great for all parties involved. If you ever want to be a part of the program, let me give you a couple of ways you can do that real quick. On Twitter, at Clemson Sports. You can follow me at CST Show, and we always have a blast over there on social media. But if you want to join the conversation, it's a new way for you to hang out. We're working on some other things on our website, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. But join our Slack channel, go over to our website, and then click join the conversation. And joining us now and joining the conversation, our good friend Michael Felder from the Bleacher Report on Twitter, at InTheBleachers. Michael, what's going on, bud?
Not a thing, man. How you guys doing?
Man, we're doing great. Just back off a little vacation. I know you traveled out to Oregon for the opening and everything, but, I kicked my feet up last week, just hung out with the family, and the kids didn't wear me out too much. So I'm back on the air. I'm feeling good, man. I hope you are as well.
Yeah, you live that good life. I've got a vacation in about 2 weeks heading to the Outer Banks. So I've got to put in a little bit more work before I get a break, and then when I get back, once the feet touch the ground in Charlotte after the Outer Banks, it's go time for the season.
I'll tell you that, man. Let me ask you about the Outer Banks. I've been up there probably 10 years or so ago with my family, and my goodness, that's a haul. I mean, that's a haul to get out to the Outer Banks.
Yeah, we got about a 5.5-hour car ride, 2-hour ferry. Then we got the quick ride to go pick up the keys to get to the rental house, but it's a haul, but it's worth it for a week of just a little bit of fishing, a little bit of crabbing, a lot of cooking, and a lot of ice-cold beers.
All right. Listen, I heard that. And, of course, guests always join us via the DNC Trucking and Transport guest line. And Michael, let's talk a little bit about the opening. There was so much going on out there, and these events have just blown up as you've seen them from your time in playing football and moving on through to what you're doing now with the Bleacher Report. I mean, they've just continued to grow and grow and grow the interest and the coverage of these events. Give us maybe like one or two of your largest takeaways from the opening.
Well, man, it's just just the breadth of it all is outstanding. And you get good on good, which is really good for the kids. They get to meet people, and through social media, they kind of know who each other are. But you put a face with a name. If you're a 17-year-old from Georgia and you meet this, another 17-year-old from California, and you guys hit it off, you can stay in touch with texting, with social media, which is pretty cool. The big takeaway for me didn't have anything to do with any of the recruits. Well, it kind of did. The biggest takeaway for me was Odell Beckham Jr. is probably the biggest star in the minds of high school football players that there is in football. It was unbelievable. Like, I'm out there, and Jerry Rice is going through, putting the kids through the paces. Deshaun Watson came out, and he's talking to the guys. Willie McGinnis is out there. Richard Sherman is out there. And there's a who's who of, talented, big-time accomplished football players. But they knew that Odell Beckham would cause a scene, so they gave him his own specific time to show up, let the kids go crazy so the kids could get back to work and actually learning at the camp, because if he was out there, they wouldn't have got any work done. It was unbelievable.
Well, when you talk about some of those guys that were getting work done, let's talk about one of Clemson's commits right now, defensive lineman Xavier Thomas. Just some of your thoughts. Everybody saw the highlight. I mean, the one play, but just from a skill set standpoint, the entire week, where do you have him?
I think he is absolutely the best. He's one of, if not the best, defensive ends and defensive lineman in the country right now, coming out in this 2018 cycle. I think the thing we see with him, and you can see the power where he goes the long arm and gets the offensive tackle lifted up and dumps him. But he's got a lot of speed, and he's got some moves to go with it. I love the way that he takes coaching. So we're talking about a guy that can get a good stab on the upfield side and then spin back down around the offensive tackle to get inside and go make a play. A guy that can give a jab step to the inside, swipe hands off, and then get outside to go make a play. There's speed and there's power, and he's got moves to go with it. And I think that's a deadly combo when you talk about a guy that's going to be feasting on quarterbacks in the ACC in a year's time.
Man, I tell you, and to see some of the things that he was able to do at such an early age, does that come back to just, I guess, the knowledge that's enhanced by the coaches at the high school level, the fact that now you can go to YouTube and watch a ton of video on techniques and things? I mean, why have we seen this progression at the high school level?
I think it's a combination of all those things. One, you got to be an elite athlete, which he absolutely is without a doubt. I remember seeing him last year as a rising junior at the opening, where he was also a standout player. So being an elite athlete helps. But then you also go into coaching, whether it's your high school coach, it's some of your private coaches, it's guys that you're getting at these camps and you're working those things through it. And then, yeah, absolutely YouTube. Not Thomas specifically, but there's a quarterback, Justin Rogers, committed to TCU, and he talked about how, he doesn't have a private quarterbacks coach. He's from Louisiana, but he does watch drills on YouTube, and he goes out and he works them himself. And he made a drastic improvement from the guy that we saw a year ago to the guy that was competing in the Elite 11 this year. So, yeah, there's all those tools for people out there where even if you don't have a private coach, you can find drills, find ways to make yourself get better. And kids are doing that because they want to be as good as they can. Michael Felder from the Bleacher Report at In the Bleachers here on Clemson Sports Talk tonight. And Michael, you talked about the social media aspect of it all, and I know that in this day and age, you and I both follow a lot of these young men on social media as well. How big of a factor does that have, you think, in the mindset of these young men where they go to school? Clemson has done a great job with their social media department and inviting and enticing and everything that they do with these players through social media. How valuable is that aspect of it? I think it's pretty valuable, and it's not because of fans tweeting recruits. Let's make that very clear. It's not the fans tweeting at recruits that does it. Right. I think there's a layered engagement that players absolutely appreciate. There is there's this base layer where we talk about the edits and the videos and all those things.
Sure.
That projects the image that you want, that image of that coolness, that we're with it. The idea that Clemson can tweet out as soon as that Migos Culture album's dropped, they've got a Clemson edit. That means they understand what's cool to these kids, not what's cool to a coach, not what's cool to a 45-year-old a 45-year-old alumnus, but what's cool to these guys. And I think they appreciate that. And then I also think, on a more personal level, coaches that interact, whether it's favoriting tweets, whether it's responding to tweets, whether it's liking tweets, retweeting tweets, I think they respond to coaches that are keeping up with them as well. And that's a big part. That's an extension of the relationship that you have to have in recruiting. I think it's just another part of that extension. Back in the day, it was, a phone call once a week, maybe a letter every couple days. Now it's moved from letter to email, email to text, text to social media stuff. And I think those are all just extensions of that one-on-one relationship that you have to have that makes great recruiters great.
What can you take away from a kid like Trevor Lawrence, one of the top-rated prospects in the class and the number one quarterback according to most people, when he's tweeting at a guy like Jamari Sawyer, things like, I can't wait to have you blocking for me and things like that. And on top of that, what do you think about Sawyer's game?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. One, Trevor Lawrence, he's got all the talent in the world. I think the key for him is going to be putting it together so the game slows down in his mind so he can hit his spots and use all that talent. As far as him talking to Sawyer, he recognizes, look, game recognizes game, where he recognizes that this kid's got big game. I want him on my side.
Yeah.
I don't want to play against him. I want to play with him because he's an absolute dude. Jamari Sawyer, another guy that was at the opening as a rising junior, along with Xavier Thomas. Owen Papa was there as a rising sophomore, which is an amazing kid from Georgia that plays the linebacker spot. And Jamari Sawyer, to me, I think he is the best offensive lineman in this group. I thought he was the best offensive lineman at the opening a year ago, as a year younger than everybody else. I still think he is the best. He is absolutely outstanding. This kid's built like a tank. He's got the little head sitting on top of the big shoulder pad. And, I mean, he is a puncher. He got to finish the opening this year. Last year, he dislocated his pinky finger, and I will never forget that because I was the person that was holding onto his hand while the medic was trying to put his finger back in the socket. So I'm getting my hand squeezed. I'm about to get my hand broken while they're trying to fix his hand. Sawyer is an absolute monster. Great footwork, great technique. He's really good in pass protection, but in the run game, he is a mauler, a guy that will root you out of your spot and then bury you to the ground if you give him a chance.
Michael Felder from the Bleacher Report here with us on Clemson Sports Talk tonight, recapping the opening, some of the stars that were out there. You mentioned Sawyer being the top offensive line prospect you've seen. I think back to what Clemson has done offensively in the past few years, and really, outside of Mitch Hyatt, not a true star there in terms of recruiting across the front five. Could a guy like Sawyer, maybe another name that Clemson Tiger fans are looking at, a Jackson Carman out of the Ohio area, I mean, are guys like that the type players that, even though Clemson won a national title and played for another one, are those still the players that are just a different level than, say, a Tyrone Crowder, for example?
No, I think they're closer than a lot of people realize. I mean, even a guy like a Walker Little, who signed with Stanford a year ago as the number one tackle prospect, and Foster Sarrell, who some people had as the number one. Those guys are all close. They're all close. It's a matter of, especially when you talk about offensive line, it's a matter of technique, and a lot of it has to do with growth potential. Those guys are going to grow to be the 317-pound monster versus somebody else who may end up being that 295 guy. But the technique and how far you are, and I'll be honest with you, I think Mac Bockhorst is an absolute stud. I think he is a guy that could be a face of an offensive line in the future. So I'm curious to watch where he's at in his development, because I loved him a year ago before he ended up getting hurt, obviously, out at the opening. So I think that there's not a huge gap between a lot of these guys. I think the key is going to be getting them in there. Will Barnes is another one, a guy from Florida along the offensive line, one of the top tackles in this class. I think he's someone that, if Clemson can land him, they've got an opportunity with someone that can absolutely play. Javon Gwynn, kid from North Carolina. He's another guy. He's a guard. People have him listed as a 3-star in spots, but watching him work, the way he works, short, quick steps, he's going to be an asset on the interior of somebody's offensive line. Why not Clemson? Same thing goes with Jack Carman, kid you mentioned from Ohio. I look at him. I love the way he uses his hands. I mean, they are just absolutely explosive. They are. He recognizes how to punch already. That's a hard thing to teach young offensive linemen, and that's why he's a little higher rated than some other people, because he knows how to use his hands already, which means he's going to hit the ground running at the next level.
Let me ask you one other question, because I'm not certain about this, but I do want to dive in with you here. We're talking with Michael Felder on Twitter. He's at In the Bleachers. He works for the Bleacher Report. There's nobody better in terms of covering high school football, recruiting, and those top-rated players who travel around the country showcasing their skill sets. I love the work you do, man. You always keep me so in tune. Let me ask you, was James Cook there, the Florida State decommit, the brother of Dalvin Cook? Was he at the opening out in Oregon?
Yes, Dalvin Cook was there, but also James Cook was there. Yes, he was there.
Okay, let me ask you about this young man, because all I've heard from people is that if you thought his brother was good, you got to see this kid in person. And that's why I really like what you do, because I can watch a film and I can see a guy and I can go, I watched Christian Wilkins in high school and I went, well, he's dominant because he's playing against, little small guys out on the field. Well, I was wrong. I mean, he's dominant because he's just dominant. Tell me about James Cook. What type of running back is he?
He is incredibly explosive. He actually spent part of the first day working out with the wide receivers just to show how fast he actually was. And this is a guy that, going up against the top DBs in the country, there's a point where he ran a stutter and go, and he stuttered, and he knew during his stutter that he had already won. And he told the guy, "I'll catch you in the end zone." He said something to that effect, "I'll catch you in the end zone," and was already gone before the guy realized that he was past him. So he's that type of fast. He's incredibly explosive. He likes to talk a lot. He's got the attitude that you want in terms of confidence, ability. He has all those things. For him, it's about reeling it in and dialing it, focusing all that energy of wanting to be great into just doing the hard work, doing the sort of, they call it the lonely work, which is kind of working on his craft. He's explosive. He's dynamic. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think the big key for him is going to be focusing it in, because when he's focused, I don't know that there are many running backs that are better than him, and the key for him is just going to be to focus. He can't get caught up in kind of being upset with other players in terms of maybe somebody gets him one time, they win one of those one-on-ones.
Right.
He wants to run it back and go. He's so competitive that he gets caught up in wanting to go again so that he can keep winning and show him that he's the best. But the key for him, if he takes that coaching and he keeps taking it and kind of sticks there, he can be every bit as good as Dalvin in terms of what he can do on the field. It's just all about channeling that energy that he's got.
Michael, that's it. I mean, that's quite a compliment, because if you've been a Clemson Tiger follower the past couple of years and have gotten a chance to see Dalvin Cook, to imagine that his younger brother could potentially be a bigger and better star no matter where he plays now, a decommitment from Florida State, that just tells you what a unbelievably talented young man he could be. Michael, man, we'll let you go. Enjoy your vacation coming up in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much for being a part of Clemson Sports Talk so often, and we definitely look forward to having you back on quite frequently during the college football season.
Sounds good. You guys take it easy. Enjoy your Monday night.
On Twitter, he's at In the Bleachers, and, of course, guests join us via the D&C Trucking and Transport guest line. Wow. High octane. And I'm not talking about James Cook. I'm talking about Michael Felder. That's why I love having him be a part of the program. But, when you hear him talk about guys like Sawyer and Jackson Carman and for me, I think it's very important that we recognize it and make note of the fact that while, yes, these guys are perhaps, quote, elite level, higher, better thought of than many of the guys that Clemson has recruited in recent years, the gap may not be as significant as many of us think, as many people believe. And, that difference between being a high 4-star and a 5-star recruit, it may be 6-1, half dozen the other. And that's kind of why I wanted to ask that question, because, I'm guilty of it just like you are. I'm absolutely guilty of it. I think we all are in some respects. We've become guilty of buying into the star hype, and you try not to, because you have to understand that if it were all about the stars, the big dogs are going to be at the top forever, and things just aren't going to change. And maybe over the totality of the college football pantheon, Alabama's typically been at the top, or Ohio State or Southern Cal or whomever you want to throw into that top tier, Michigan, so on and so forth. But you can get 3-star guys, maybe 3-star guys that are teetering on 4-star, maybe even being a 4-star guy. You bring them in that growth potential. That's something that I think Michael's mentioned to us here on the program the past couple of times he's been on. And I think that's the toughest thing for coaching staffs to evaluate when it comes down to recruiting. It is growth potential. Because the fact that Trevor Lawrence today or Xavier Thomas tomorrow is the best player in the 2017 class, that's great coming out of high school. That's great. But you don't want that at the end of their career at your school. What you want at the end of their career at your school is them to be the best player in college football as well. Now, maybe that doesn't mean they win the Heisman Trophy. Maybe it's a guy like Deshaun Watson who doesn't win the Heisman Trophy over a kid like Lamar Jackson last season, but you get a guy who is the consummate winner, who is a professional in the locker room, on the field, off the field, does the little things. And I think there is a lot of that found in that terminology, growth potential. A lot of the core principles that a guy like Deshaun Watson carry. And as I've mentioned here on the program previously, I think one of the most undervalued prospects in the 2017 NFL Draft, and maybe for you Clemson Tiger fans coming back next season, is a guy like Wayne Gallman, who gave you everything, every play, even when the ball wasn't in his hands. There's so much value in that. And the New York Giants are going to reap the rewards of having a guy like Gallman on their team. 803-978-1832. We're back in 3.
When a stroke happens, every second counts. So don't drive and call 911 to get to the emergency department as soon as possible. At Lexington Medical Center, we're pleased to serve our community. As a certified primary stroke center, our acute stroke team rapidly evaluates patients and provides them with the fastest treatment possible. This specialized care limits the chance of brain damage and gives stroke patients a better chance of full recovery. Act quickly at the first sign of a stroke and count on the Stroke Center at Lexington Medical Center to provide you with the best possible care.
Your pet deserves high-quality health care. Your pet deserves the friendly, professional doctors and courteous staff at Midland's Veterinary Practice. We treat you and your pet like family by listening carefully to your concerns and addressing your pet's long-term healthcare needs. With the use of our latest state-of-the-art technology, like a therapeutic laser, we offer alternatives to drug therapy. At Midland's Veterinary Practice, we care for the most valuable pets, yours. Visit us at MidlandsVet.com on Facebook or Twitter, or contact us at 750-7387, 750-PETS.
Hi, my name is Donald Kidwell, current owner of CrossFit Iron Mary's. After finding CrossFit in 2012, I lost 128 pounds. At CrossFit Iron Mary's, you're not a barcode, you're an actual person. Where you are now is not important. Where you want to be is. 3 locations to reach your fitness goals in Columbia: the Old Mill in Lexington, Trotter Road in West Columbia, and downtown near the Carolina Baseball Stadium. Check us out online at CrossFitIronMarys.com or give us a call at 803-414-9601. Set up your first set of free classes today at CrossFit Iron Mary's, 803-414-9601.
Looking for South Carolina's favorite country? You'll find it at 97.5 WCOS.
Clemson Sports Talk, Lawton Swan, not beach music. No, one of the perils of vacation, as you can imagine, is the password. And what I mean by is the password is the fact that I changed my password probably a day or two before I left. I could have sworn I knew the password.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
But I can't remember it. So I got to reset it. And I was working on that during the break. So that's on me. My bad. Appreciate Michael Felder joining us via the D&C Trucking and Transport guest line. The number, though, if you want to be a part of the show, 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. Hang out with Davey D, 23, and others over on our Slack channel. Having a good time over there with those folks as well. Again, our big question that we ask at the beginning of the program, more important for you in 2017, defensive scores or special teams touchdowns? I purposefully took special teams scores and changed that up because, again, I know field goals are a part of special teams. I know extra points are a part of special teams. If we add that in, then it might skew the results. I want to know about touchdowns. Do you think it is more valuable for Clemson in 2017 to see a guy like Mark Fields with a pick six a couple of times this year? Or do you think it is more valuable to see somebody like Tavian Feaster, Ray McLeod getting loose on special teams? I think they are both They're both equally good for Clemson. Make no mistake about that. But I do wonder which you think is more valuable. We had Rob Sanders in studio in hour one kind of talking through those things. And there is certainly nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with those things playing out well for Clemson Tiger Nation. I tend to lean more towards defensive scores. That's where I tend to go, me personally, because I think that a defensive score is such a back-breaking moment for an offense. And if you think about an offense that perhaps moves the ball up the field quite a bit, and then ultimately falls victim to a fumble recovery return or an interception return, all of a sudden they've got to go right back out on the field of play. And they have that momentum going against them. The defense is now amped up and fired up. Whereas when you have a punt return, kick return situation, maybe the defense is a little gassed. Maybe this punt's coming from midfield. You've given up about 6-8 plays to get out there to midfield. Defense hadn't been off the field all day. Now you get that punt return for a score, great, but then the defense is right back out there, and maybe you kind of lose some of the momentum from that moment. Where I feel like the defense really begins to ball hawk, begins to attack, begins to run a little bit extra off of the adrenaline of that score. Now that exists on a punt or kick return. Let's not be dismissive of that fact. It absolutely exists, but I think there's a little something extra to it when you've got one of your big defensive linemen maybe picking a ball off in space. And quite frankly, I got to imagine that at some point along the way, many of you would say to yourself, or at least would agree with me, that one of the big boys up front, Dexter Lawrence or Christian Wilkins, is going to get an interception at some point. Batted ball up in the air. Wilkins almost intercepted the first pass of the playoff national championship game against Alabama. Kind of dropped into a little zone coverage, batted the ball. If that thing's tipped up just a little bit better, you might have been seeing 320 rumbling, stumbling. You think you wouldn't get a little dance from that guy if he got to the end zone? Off a little pick six? A little tip drill action? Speaking of Christian Wilkins, as good as Wilkins is, and as much of a monster as I think he will be, and I think he's a top 5 draft pick next season. Coming right out of the gate, he's a top 5 draft pick. Barring an injury, Christian Wilkins, for me, maybe a top 3 draft pick in the NFL draft. But get this. Sports Illustrated put together their top 10 defensive players in 2017. Christian Wilkins didn't make the list. He's not a top 10 defensive player, according to Sports Illustrated. They've got the best player in the country as Ed Oliver, defensive tackle at Houston. Hard to disagree with how good Ed Oliver was in his first year. I mean, he is an absolute beast. 65 tackles, 5 sacks, 6 passes deflected, 2 forced fumbles. He took over games at times on the interior defensive line for Houston. Number 2 on that list, maybe the most versatile player. Can't wait to talk to him at the ACC kickoff coming up later this week. Derwin James, the safety/hybrid player for Florida State. They've got number 3 on this list, Minkah Fitzpatrick, the cornerback at Alabama, who is, heading into his junior year, one of the best defensive backs in America. No doubt about it. Unbelievable cover skills, athleticism galore. And the right attitude, too. I like that about Fitzpatrick, the right attitude as well. Number 4 is a defensive lineman in the ACC, Harold Landry, the senior up at Boston College. You talk about a freakish player there at defensive end for the Boston College Eagles. He's one of them. Number 5, also defensive lineman, now playing linebacker, coming off of an injury. As a matter of fact, today Ed Orgeron at LSU saying that Arden Key would not be ready for the opening practices of the fall. He's still going to be out. And, of course, Arden Key took a little time away for personal reasons as well. Linebacker now for the LSU Tigers. Number 6 on that list, Rashawn Gary, a name Clemson Tiger fans very familiar with. These are the top-rated players in college football, top-rated defensive players in college football in 2017. Rashawn Gary, the sophomore defensive end at Michigan, who came down to the Wolverines and Clemson before making his destination known last year. Amon Marshall, junior corner at Southern Cal, is number 7. Number 8 on that list, Tavares McFadden, the junior cornerback at Florida State. And then number 9, another defensive lineman from the ACC, not named Christian Wilkins. Dexter Lawrence, sophomore defensive tackle for the Clemson Tigers, rated inside the top 10 at number 9, best college football defensive players in 2017. And finally, Malik Jefferson, the junior linebacker at Texas. Now, that's pretty incredible when you consider how well thought of Christian Wilkins is, not just in Clemson circles, but in all circles of college football. Skill set, ridiculous. Athleticism, nuts. Can play both offensively, defensively. I think if, you line this kid up at fullback anytime you want. I mean, he is the modern-day version of William the Refrigerator Perry. Yet it was Lawrence who's considered, according to Sports Illustrated, a top 10 defensive lineman. Now, if that doesn't speak volumes about Dexter Lawrence, I don't know what does. It's going to be a lot of fun, nonetheless, to watch all of those guys on that front four for Clemson, which I think is arguably the best defensive line that Clemson's ever had. And they've been stacked and loaded at defensive line the past few seasons. But a kid like Wilkins, not in the top 10, in the ACC, in the SEC, in the Big Ten, Pac-12, everywhere playing college football defensively. Hard for me to buy that, given what we've seen and the versatility that he brings. But I do like the fact that a guy like Lawrence can give this little ribbon to him. Hey, man, Sports Illustrated didn't have you to the top 10. I like it, a little extrinsic motivation from your sidekick on the interior, and those two guys are tight. Those two guys, they're thick as thieves, as you might say. So there's going to be some ribbon in the locker room, on the couch, playing video games, etc. College Sports Corner coming up on the flip side. Stay with us.
Our customers receive the best heating and air conditioning service in South Carolina. Hi, I'm Tim Mosley, and I can make that statement because that's what our customers tell us every day. We call it quality confirmed. Call us at 803-233-7172, and we'll call you when the job is done to confirm we met your expectations. That's quality confirmed. We're Carolina Conditions, and we're committed to meeting your expectations. 803-233-7172. Call us at 803-233-7172.
Create your perfect wedding at the Carolina Bridal Showcase. Discover new ideas, taste delicious cakes, see beautiful flowers, and find your dream dress. Experience it all Sunday, July 16th at the Columbia Metropolitan Convention Center. Brought to you by Carolina Bride Magazine, American Floral, Columbia Bridal Associates, Pasca Productions, and 104.7 WNOK. Do not miss this. July 16th at the Columbia Metropolitan Convention Center. Grab those tickets right now at bridecityShows.com. That's bridecityShows.com.
For 28 years, the professional staff of the Hobbs Group and Hobbs Group Advisors has been dedicated to helping others achieve their financial goals by delivering quality, objective financial and accounting solutions to a diverse client base of individuals and businesses all over South Carolina. We offer tax and audit services, bookkeeping, payroll, litigation support, employee benefits, personal financial planning, investment management, and insurance services. Please call us at 803-799-0555 or visit our website, hobbscpa.com, to learn more about our people and services.
services. Need custom shirts, hats, or uniforms? How about promotional giveaways for your business or organization? Need fast turnaround times? Look no further than Meridian Printing and Promotions. Located in Lexington, they provide an in-house art department, in-house screen printing, and in-house embroidery services to the Midlands and beyond. For the absolute best quality products and services, contact Meridian Printing and Promotions, 785-4990. Check them out online, mbspromo.com.
The scattered storms will die off overnight and the lows will dip to the mid-70s. Tomorrow, sunny to start, afternoon highs in the low 90s, then some clouds and some scattered late storms. For Channel 25 ABC Columbia, I'm Chief Meteorologist John Farley.
This report is brought to you by South Carolina Department of Insurance.
Ray Farmer, Director of the South Carolina Department of Insurance.
Hurricane season is upon us. Help protect your family and property by being storm ready. Make an emergency plan, prepare a home inventory, and review your insurance policy. Learn more ways to be storm ready at doi.sc.gov.
Follow Clemson Sports Talk on Twitter at Clemson Sports. Now more of Clemson Sports Talk. Take it away, Dad.
You can dance, every dance with the guy who gives you the eye, let him hold you tight. You can smile, every smile for the man who held your hand neath the pale moonlight.
Clemson Sports Talk, Lawton Swan. Beach music hits less than a month, man. What do we got, 20 days left on the beach music? Oh, can you believe it? That's crazy. That doesn't even make sense. Where did the summer go? 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Overton's Orange joins us before we jump into the College Sports Corner. He wants to talk a little bit about Clemson's quarterback situation. I know Rob Sanders was on with us earlier, and he talked a little bit about it. Double O, what are your thoughts, man?
Well, like I said before, Lawton, I think KB is going to start. I think that's a no-brainer. But if let's just say he didn't perform didn't get the job done, there's Johnson, right?
Right,
Freshman?
Hunter Johnson, sure.
Okay, and the other guy's
Zarek
name,
Cooper.
Mr. Cooper. So we got.
Johnson?
I think Johnson would get the second position, don't you?
The thing is, Zach Lentz, who's doing some work for us now with Clemson Sports Talk, he tends to think that Hunter Johnson's going to be the guy before the season's over, before it's up.
Oh, he's saying he's going to start?
He thinks before it's all said and done, that's going to be Clemson's guy.
Now,
and
for
he's
real,
not.
Come on.
He's not the only person I've heard that from, I'll tell you. He's not.
Wow. How can that be with the guy has no starting experience?
Well, I guess if you can't spin the football down the field in this offense, you got to find somebody that can.
Correct.
Yeah,
But I just don't see Dabo doing that. I'm sorry to differ. But
yeah.
I think Dabo's smarter than that.
Well, I'll tell you this. Let me throw a scenario
Yes,
to you though. Previously, 3 years ago, you might recall, Clemson and Dabo Swinney kept going with Cole Stout the first 3 games of the season.
Correct.
And they ended up having a guy named Deshaun Watson who turned out to be a pretty good right?
Deshaun's going to be another Cam Newton, brother.
Man. So I guess.
Hey, and I like that statement you said about the defensive line. I agree with you there. We're stacked and loaded to the. I mean, there can't nobody run on our defense, man.
It's going to be hard.
We're going to keep pressure on the quarterback. You know that.
Well, and I think the other advantage, Double O, to the fact that you've got such a good defensive front is that you free up the linebackers significantly.
Correct.
And then on top of that, you allow your defensive backs to know, hey, we don't have to cover all that long. We don't have to be in coverage all that long.
Exactly, because they're going to get the quarterback. I mean, if the boy don't fire the ball in about 1.5 seconds, he's going to the ground.
Yeah. Hey, here's a question, and maybe this is something for the next couple of days. And it may have been you that even mentioned this to me. Somebody mentioned this to me today. No, it was today somebody mentioned it to me. If you think about a kid like Jake Bentley here in Columbia, and of course, South Carolina fans, I've got buddies who just think Jake Bentley is going to be the next big thing, and maybe he will be. But when you look at Clemson, would Tiger Nation be happier right now if Jake Bentley were the starting quarterback for Clemson or any of the trio that they've got?
No, sir. Bentley is not even – come on. Lawton, Bentley is average at best.
You may be right. You may be all over it. I'll tell you this. They had a top 20 list came out the other day, and Kelly Bryant was one of the top 20 quarterbacks in college football. Jake Bentley was not on that list. I'll tell you that.
See, prove it. Case proved. Point close. Case shut.
There you go, brother. Hey, man, it's good to hear from you. I'm glad to be back.
Hey, enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, thank you. 00, Overton's Orange here on Clemson Sports Talk tonight. 803-978-1832. Why not? We'll take a short drive down to Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac in Orangeburg for the College Sports Corner.
Clemson Sports Talk presents the College Sports Corner, brought to you by Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac. Just a short drive down I-26 at exit 145A in Orangeburg. Now, CST reporter Lawton Swan.
Well, Johnny, as always, you do not disappoint, my friend. You do not disappoint with the introductions into the College Sports Corner. And, of course, the College Sports Corner would not be complete without taking a look around the world of college sports. And I kind of feel like I need to dive into this segment today, one, simply because it is the unofficial kickoff of the college football season with the SEC Media Days getting underway. But number two, I also need to dive into it because earlier today, Clemson announced 13 players signed to the baseball team. Head coach Monty Lee announced 13 new players announced to the program on Monday. He talked about the fact that Bradley LaCroix and Andrew C. had done such an incredible job out on the recruiting trail. Monty Lee saying, "We are very excited about this recruiting class." He said, "We also believe that we signed some of the upper echelon players in several states, including South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, California, and Michigan. 12 of the 13 signees will be freshmen in the 2018 season. Two-way player Bryce Bowen and Bryce Teodosi, that's a tough one, and Sam Weatherly join position players Matthew Cooper, Drew Donathan, Justin Hawkins, Sam Hall, Elijah Henderson, Bo Majikowski, and Keir Meredith, along with right-handers Holt Johnson, Connor O'Rear, Spencer Strider, who was a first-team All-American, according to Collegiate Baseball America. So, lots of new faces coming into the Clemson Tiger baseball program. 3 Tiger signees were selected in the June 2017 MLB draft. Weatherly was drafted in the 27th round by the Blue Jays. Meredith was selected in the 28th round by the Cubs, and Strider was chosen in the 35th round by the Indians. So a little brief snippet there in the College Sports Corner. We'll send it out to the phone lines one more time here during this segment. Caller, welcome in. What's up?
Hey, Swan. This is M.W. Reese.
What's going on, M.W.? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. So I've been thinking something about this whole quarterback situation.
Yeah.
Auburn at Clemson.
Yeah.
How many points do you think Auburn puts up on us in the Valley?
Would Stidham at quarterback? I think it's a big question mark, but I would think a max, in my feeling, is like 24 max. Max 24, I would say.
Okay, let's go to the next game. At Louisville. How many points do you think Louisville puts up on us?
Ooh. On the road, maybe 27, 24, 27, something like that. I don't know that anybody's going to get to 30.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you just one more. What about Florida State in the Valley? How many points do you think Florida State puts on? Upper 20s?
Yeah, 28. I'd go 28. 4 scores, maybe. They might get.
So here's the thing.
I think they could get to 31. They could get to 31.
So here's the thing. If I'm Dabo and I'm Tony Scott and Jeff Elliott and all the other assistant coordinators that we have on staff,
yeah. I like that. Tony Scott and Jeff Elliott. Love it.
I'm approaching August and early September thinking what kind of offense and which quarterback is going to allow us to put up 31 or more points. I just don't see where Kelly Bryant and that offense is going to be able to do it. I think they're going to have to roll the dice with Hunter Johnson. They're going to have to do it week 1. I'll listen off air.
M.W. Reese, man, right up against the break. That's perfect timing to get out. That's a great question. We'll talk about it more when we come back here on Fox Sports Radio and iHeart Radio. Which quarterback gives you the best chance to get to that 31-point mark, that 31-point total?
Tiger fans, look no further than the Tiger Sports Shop in Clemson for all your game day gear. Since 1974, they've brought you everything Clemson for the Clemson fan, with quality brand names such as Nike, Under Armour, Antigua, Ping, and many more. From hats to t-shirts to tailgate, the Tiger Sports Shop has all the Clemson apparel a true Tiger fan needs. With 2 convenient game day locations in Tigertown, shop where I shop at I Am Ibrahim's Tiger Sports Shop. They fuel the passion of Tiger fans everywhere. Check them out online, tigersports.com.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is having a statewide job fair for correctional officers, RNs, food services, teachers, facilities management, and maintenance. Friday, July 14th, 9 to 1 at 4502 Broad River Road in Columbia.
Hey guys, Lawton Swan here. I was hanging out in the backyard with my son Mason the other day, and he said, "Dad, you're the best father ever." I was like, "What makes you say that, son?" He said, "When I go outside to play now, I don't get eaten up by the bugs anymore." Imagine that, me, a hero, when all I did was just a couple of weeks ago call Trey Powell at Mosquito Joe with their routine service plan. No more bugs and no more bites. Make yourself the family hero. Call Mosquito Joe today, 803-223-7916. Outside is fun again. When you have a need for a plumber, you need it fast and you need it done right. If you're dealing with busted pipes, maybe you need your toilet repaired or you're battling a clogged drain, break free from average service and experience the best with Freedom Plumbing. Call James Carwell and the staff at Freedom Plumbing to get the job done fast, on time, and most importantly, right the first time. Freedom Plumbing, your local 24-hour plumber. Call 803-447-0471 or online at freedom-plumbing.com.
For more information about contests on this station, go to foxsportsradio1400.com/rules. Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk, your iHeart Radio home for the Clemson Tigers, winners of the 2017 National Championship game.
What have you done for me lately? It's a fair question. Just don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Don't forget history. Lucky for us at Clemson, the answer to the questions, what have you done for me lately, and what have you done always, are the same. We win.
Clemson Sports Talk, Lawton Swan. So glad to be back with you here. Fox Sports Radio and iHeart Radio. Of course, we podcast every edition of the show. Big things coming here for the program. Of course, our new website going to drop here in the next few days. You're going to love that. Zach Lentz doing some work for us. Again, on Twitter, he's at Zach Lentz CST. I would encourage you to hang out in our Slack channel. It sounds like a place for people who don't have anything to do. That's not what it is. It is a great communication piece for you. If you want to learn more about it, you can head over to our website right now and click Join the Conversation. We are working on some other things for interactivity during the week, but I think this is the go-to for during the show for sure. I love what it brings to the table and really hoping that we can continue to add new people into the fold. It's a great question M.W. Reese had before the break. And maybe not even so much a question, but as a thought process to kind of dive in and look at, okay, so what are the teams that you think are going to score the most points on Clemson? And how many points do you believe those teams can score? Now, I would not have in any way, shape, or form thought that Pitt would have scored 43 points on Clemson in 2017. Or 16. Or whenever. But you look at the games last season. Auburn scored 13. Troy scored 24. SC State 0. Georgia Tech 7. Louisville scored 36. 10 against Boston College, 17 NC State. 34 for Florida State, 0 for Syracuse, 43 for Pitt, 13 for Wake, 7 for South Carolina, 35 for Virginia Tech. Those are the regular season games. 0 for Ohio State, and then 31 for Alabama. Now, based on that trend, one would believe that I'm wrong on Louisville, Louisville, Florida State for sure. I mean, they both scored 34 and 36 points respectively. I mean, that's where they were. So maybe I should give those teams more credit and believe that they're going to score 34 more points against Clemson in 2017. I tend to believe not. I tend to believe that this is going to be a better Clemson defense, even minus a guy like Big Ben Boulware, who was so incredible in his game preparation, but lacked coverage skills. In fairness, lacked coverage skills. Minus Carlos Watkins, I mean, I think it's a nope. I mean, not a big deal. I hate to feel that way. I think losses of Richard Jurgen and Samuel Davis apparently transferring down to SC State. I don't know that those losses are all that significant at this point. You're so deep defensively. By the way, if you have an Amazon Echo at home, we want to make sure that you're getting all the latest Clemson news information. So we have 2 Clemson sports skills that you can enable. We also have a couple of college football skills. Now, I will say, for some reason, 2 of them are not doing what they're supposed to do right now, and I am in conversation with the folks at Amazon. So I'm hoping to get those all squared away again and up and running the way they're supposed to work with the latest news in the next couple of days. They take a little while to get back with me. They're busy. Jeff Bezos and those guys are getting ready for Prom Day, which is tonight. Party on, Wayne. Party on, Garth. Can't wait. I'm already preparing. Okay, I'm getting set to lock in on Amazon tonight. If you're on the Christmas list, you might be getting your purchases made today. If I can save a little coin, I will try. But when you go back and think about this Clemson Tiger defense in 2017, I think it's better than the 2016 defense. And I'm hard-pressed to believe that teams are going to score much more than 31 points. That any team on this schedule is going to score more than 31 points. Maybe somebody finds a way to do it. But I think it's going to be tough. You're going to have probably a defensive score, special team score against Clemson, oddly enough. But taking all that into consideration, who gives you the best chance to score the most points? Now, sitting here in the palatial 316 Greystone Boulevard studios at iHeart Media on July the 10th at 7:51 in the p.m., I don't know who that player is. Is a Kelly Bryant in a multi-dimensional offense where the rushing game is a bigger part of what the quarterback does more valuable? Is it better suited to score points in 2017 than a Hunter Johnson drop back spread, hurry up, no huddle attack like Clemson has done, or is Eric Cooper in that same role? Because I think you have 3 completely different players. If you say to me, Swanee, put the guy in there that's most like Deshaun Watson, I'm plugging Eric Cooper in. I mean, if it's just to go to the toolbox and find the cog that's most similar, that's the one you're going to go get. I'm trying to repair my kid's basketball goal, and I can't find the bolt I'm looking for, the screw. Okay, give me the one that's most similar to what used to work. And that's what I tend to go with. May not work forever, but it holds pretty good. May not be as good as Deshaun Watson or that first screw, but it might be close for a while. if you said, you know what, let's go with the future, you go Hunter Johnson all day, every day. But maybe the guy that gives you the best chance to win ultimately is a multi-dimensional, more of a dual threat guy in Kelly Bryant, and you just trust the coaching staff. I think we'll reserve judgment, and rightfully so. And I think for a while I thought, man, Brandon Streeter, boy, what a difference he made with Cole Stout. Maybe that was just a one-game deal, and that was about the offensive coordinators, Jeff Scott and Tony Elliott, calling a great game. Well, if they can call a great game with a few weeks to prepare for Cole Stout, who looked like a concrete deer for the majority of the season with Chad Morris calling plays, then why wouldn't I give them the benefit of the doubt to say, hey, you know what? You've had 8 months. And it's not all 8 months hands-on with Kelly Bryant, but it's certainly 8 months hands-on that they can plan the offense around Kelly Bryant's skill set. Now, as I have said, and I will continue to say, and you'd be smart in saying it as well, you reserve the right to make a change after you see Clemson and Kent State. Because if KB struggles, there's no reason to think that Dabo Swinney will not go with one of the other options. I think you ride her till she bucks you. And I think you trust that Kelly Bryant gives you the best chance to win game 1 with the knowledge that he may not be the person that gives you the best chance to win game 12, 13, 14, or 15. That the future might be somewhere else on your sideline. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, I don't think that you have to have, quote, learned from your mistake with Deshaun Watson, which I think we can all acknowledge was a mistake, not playing him or starting him or playing him significantly against Georgia. I don't think it mattered against SC State, but certainly Florida State. I think it's okay to learn from that mistake, but still start Kelly Bryant game 1. I think that's okay. Incredibly, folks, it is 56 after 7. Thank you for hanging out with us. So glad to be back. We look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Again, learn more about the show, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. As always, y'all take care now. And go Tigers!
Looking to get away without having to spend a whole day traveling to your destination? Ocean Reef Resort offers 1, 2, 3, and 4-bedroom accommodations with the comforts of home and boasts the best oceanfront views. Swim in their sparkling indoor and outdoor pools, relax in their hot tubs, try out the Adventure Oasis pool with adult-sized water slide, or just float down the 250-foot lazy river. Visit us at oceanreefmyrtlebeach.com or call us at 1-866-935-0530 to learn more.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman-Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? But to order at Kaufman's Meat Place. Just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
Love it raw? For the freshest sushi in town, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, 807 Gervais Street in the Vista. Sakatumi's flavorful grill for non-sushi fans features the Kobe burger, filet and lobster, chicken hibachi, and more. Fresh sushi, flavorful grill, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, sakifresh.com.
For 28 years, the professional staff of the Hobbs Group and Hobbs Group Advisors has been dedicated to helping others achieve their financial goals by delivering quality, objective financial and accounting solutions to a diverse client base of individuals and businesses all over South Carolina. We offer tax and audit services, bookkeeping, payroll, litigation support, employee benefits, personal financial planning, investment management, and insurance services. Please call us at 803-799-0555 or visit our website, hobbscpa.com, to learn more about our people and services.
Columbia Office Furniture is the destination for quality new or used office furniture. Preview thousands of new quick ship desks, chairs, workstations, file cabinets, bookcases, conference room furniture, and more at cofsc.com. Then visit our 12,000 square foot showroom